Example 1, student says, add or subtract each set of rational expressions by finding the least common denominator. State any restrictions. Now, restrictions is also known as excluded values. Now, before we do example A, which it says 5 over 2x squared plus 5x minus 3 plus x plus 2 over. Now, when I say over, it's the same as divide, okay? So instead of saying over, I could have said x plus 2 divided by 2x to the third minus x squared plus 10x minus 5. Now, before I go and do this really difficult question or problem, I do want to review some basic math with you guys. So let's say if I have, guys, 5 over, let's say, 27 plus 1 over 9, okay? Now, we know that when we are adding or subtracting fractions, we have to find the lowest common denominator. So 5 over 27, the 27 has a denominator that can be factored down to 3 times 3 times 3, right, guys? Now, 1 over 9 can be factored down as 3 times 3. So 3 times 3, the same thing as 3 squared, and 27 is 3 to the third. So if we were to find the LCD, and the reason I want to bring this up because it's going to be very important for us in a little bit. Well, clearly 27 is the lowest common denominator for this question, LCD, which is 27. So we were to add this, I would multiply the bottom by 3, multiply the top by 3. And so now we have 5 over 27 plus 3 over 27. The denominators are the same. So now we just add the top. We do not combine the bottom. We just carry the bottom over. We cannot reduce 8 over the 27, so we box that up. So if we look at this math, we know the LCD was 27. But when we look at the basic math, one has 3 to the third and one has 3 squared. So whenever we have the same factor, then we take the bigger power of the two, okay? So if it says 1 is 3 to the third and 1 is 3 squared, the LCD is the bigger of the two. Another one is, I want to bring this up as well, is this. For example, if we say, okay, well, let's do the similar question. And 5 over 27, let's do 5 over 18, right? So we know, okay, so we do already know that 5, or let's change this top. Let's do like 3, just to be different. So we know the bottom is 3 to the third, okay? Now we know 18, guys, is 2 times 9, and 9 is 3 squared. And the reason, again, pay attention to this. Actually, you know what? Change it to 4. I don't want it to reduce. So that's why, let's see. So change it to something that's not reducible. Let's do 7. Okay, like that. So again, so let's go to the LCD piece. Sorry, guys. I want a numerator that's not reducible to the bottom. So LCD. Well, 27 and 8. Okay, look at this. We know that this is 3 to the third and 3 squared. We have to get the bigger of the two. So 3 to the third times, well, 2, it's over here on the right side, but over here, there's no 2. So since one has a 2 and the other doesn't have a 2, we would need to also multiply the factor of 2. So 3 to the third is 27. 27 times 2, guys, now it's going to be 54. So your lowest common denominator, students, in this case would be 54. So we're going to carry this factor or this basic math over to do this complicated algebra component, okay? All right, so first step, it says here to factor your denominator. So that's exactly what we're going to go try to do. I'm going to do the first trinomial, 2x to the third plus 5x minus 3. We are going to make a little x here. On top is -6. This is going to be 5. Two numbers multiply equals -6 and add equals to 5 is going to be 6 and -1. And I'm going to write 2x squared plus 6x minus 1x and then drop the -3 down. Make your fencing. The first two, they have 2x in common. Let's factor that out. So now we have x plus 3. If we see a minus, we take out a minus. In this case, we take out -1. And then we are going to be left with x positive 3. We have those two are identical. So now our two factors are going to be 2x minus 1 times x plus 3. Okay, so that's a factor for this denominator. So I'm going to rewrite it with the 5 being on the top and your denominator being completely factored out is now over 2x minus 1 times x plus 3. Next, we are going to factor this 4 term, which I'm going to turn it over here. I'm going to copy it again. 2x to the third minus x squared plus 10x minus 5. Check for the GCF. There isn't any, so we're going to go with x squared, 2x minus 1. We see a positive, so we take out positive 5, 2x minus 1. They do have identical 2x minus 1, so we are going to take that out. That means we're left with x squared plus 5. Whenever you guys see an x squared, be mindful, make sure it's not a difference of 2 squared. Since this case it is not, we are just going to copy the second term back down with the denominator completely factor out. Okay, just like that. All right, so step number 1, factor. Step number 2 said state the exclusions if applicable. Exclusions meaning that your denominator can never be 0. Now, because remember, you can't have fractions when the denominator is 0. So we're going to take each factor. I'm going to set equal to 0. So 2x minus 1 equals 0. Move the 1 over. 2x equals 1. So x cannot be 1/2. That's your exclusion for this one. X squared equals -5. Well, when you take a square root, we can't really take a square root of a -5 unless it's an imaginary. So we don't need to exclude imaginary, okay? So we currently have the red one being one exclusion. This one over here, this one, x can never be -3. That's exclusion number 3. This one over here, x can never be a positive 1/2. So currently we have 3 exclusions, okay? Exclusions. X can never be, well, since we have 2 of 1/2, okay, we don't need to do it twice. So we're going to write x can never be 1/2, comma, -3, and we box that up. Okay, now let's go and do the next step. Exclusion checked. Find the lowest common denominator. So I'm going to write LCD first on the side. Ooh, this pen is way too thick here. LCD. So let's compare. X minus 1, x minus 1. Each denominator only has one of those. So we don't need to take both. If it only has one, we just take one of those, okay? And here's why we only take one. If I say 2/3, guys, plus, let's say, 1/6, right? Your lowest common denominator, LCD, would be 6. And the reason is that 1/6 is 2 times 3. Now, 1/3, right? We don't go and say, oh, take LCD is 3 and 3, 3 and 3. That's not correct. That would be 9. So if it has 1 on each side, then we take the 3. Now the 2, it's over here on the right, but there's nothing on the left, but that means we still take that. If it's by itself, then it's part of your LCD. So that's why the LCD is 6 if we were to have 2/3 plus 1/6. So back to your algebra part, 2x minus 1, there's one factor of that on each denominator. So you're going to take one, a total of one of those. You are not going to take both. This one is by itself, and this one is also by itself. So you're going to take both of them. So it's going to say x plus 3, and then it's going to say x squared plus 5. So that's your LCD. Now we're going to go and make 2 big fraction line, okay? Because whatever we multiply to the bottom, we need to multiply to the top. So now it's going to go multiply all Okay, so let's write all the LCDs down first. In this case, we have two fractions, so we have to write this twice. Okay, so now we're going to compare. So pay attention to this. This one has 2x minus 1 and times x plus 3. This one has 2x minus 1 and then x plus 3. That means this one was extra, okay? So we're going to go and multiply the numerator with the extra piece that we multiply to the denominator, because whatever you multiply to the denominator, you got to multiply to the numerator. On the right side, this one has 2x minus 1, x squared plus 5. So on this right piece, this is the extra piece that we multiply to the denominator. So that means the numerator, the x plus 2 that was original the numerator, now gets multiplied with the x plus 3. So the LCD are exactly the same, students. We're just gonna now combine the top. So I'm gonna write over 1 lowest common denominator. That means now we get to copy this down once. Okay, so now it says add or subtract. Look at this. It says add or subtract. Multiply the numerator by the same factor, which we did, and then now add, subtract, and simplify. So on the top, we're gonna go 5x squared. So 5x squared. 5 times 5 is 25. And then this one said add. So we are going to add, and we are going to FOIL this out. X times x is x squared. X times 3 is going to be 3x. 2 times x is going to be 2x. 2 times 3 is going to be 6. Extend this fraction. And now we are going to combine like terms. On the bottom, we are going to say 2x plus 1. Oops, 2x minus 1, I'm sorry. 2x minus 1. Copy down the LCD again. Okay. And then x squared plus 5. On the top, let's rock and roll. We have 5x squared and an x squared. So that's going to give us 6x squared. Then we have 3x and 2x. So that's going to be 5x. Then we have 25 and 6. So that's going to be a 31. Now, before we go and box this up, guys, make sure we check to see if the numerator is factorable. Okay, so I'm going to make an x for the top. 6 times 31 is 6 times 30 is 180. And then 6 times 1 is 6. So 186. And then this is 5. Two numbers, guys, multiply equals 186 is going to be 31 and 6, what we just got done. They're not going to add up equal to 5 or subtract equal to 5. So the top is not factorable. So now we can box that up. Don't forget, we also need to state our exclusion as part of our answer. So x can never be a half or x can never be -3.